Hi, Myra with Boutique Paint. Today I'm working with the new Peonies stamp, which is my favorite flower in the entire universe. And we're going to do an art board. I'm working on a wood gallery blank from Iron Orchid. It's the 12 by 16. And I'm going to start by putting some weathered gray, and this is a protective wood stain that I carry. I'm just going to go around the edges real quick, and then we're going to let that dry, and then we'll paint the center. Okay, I measured a 1/4 inch in from the edge and put my tape. You just want to run your finger along there so it holds on. And I did cheat, and I used the hairdryer to get the stain to dry faster. I'm just putting it right on that line. And then now we're going to paint the inside. And I'm using black velvet today. Try to get some of that from the lid. You want to go the direction of the grain. Okay, our board is dry, and I've got my stamp, and it's it's a little messy right now because I've already been using it, and but I did condition it with some sandpaper. And if you don't know how to do that, you basically, when you get your sheet out, you take some sandpaper and you go over it and you sand it up, and then you rinse it off, or take a wet paper towel and get whatever off of the stamp. And then that helps whatever medium you're using, paint, ink, adhere to the stamp better. It's conditioning it. So I'm using the white chalk ink. And it's not really ink, it's just chalk. It's liquid chalk. There we go. Today, because it has more pigment in it, or it's definitely a brighter white. So because it is liquid chalk and it's meant to be erased, I'm not going to wax or put a top coat over it. Well, I'll put a top coat, but it's going to be a spray top coat so that it doesn't move around. Pick where you want it to go. And take a little peek, and it looks fabulous. And my tape is sticking. Oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, we're going to let that dry a little bit. I'm going to grab my next piece. I'm going to get that all inked up, chalked up. And I did saturate this before I started this project. I'm finding that you want it to be a little bit more on the moist side, your stamp pad, or if you're using the ink with a brayer, that would work too. And I am going off the page, or off the board, into the taped area, but that's why we have the tape, is to keep us from, I mean, you could, you know, take this off and go over your edges and be on your frame. I'm choosing not to today. And it is turning out so pretty. sometimes you just do projects that you just get so tickled with. And this is, I have to say, I'm loving this. Okay, now what do we want next? We could do this guy, or we could do this one. I think I want the bigger one. So for this, I'm gonna take a piece of plexi and use it. Just because that's what I had handy. I take the thin mounts and I cut them up into different shapes just so I have all kinds of different sizes. Or I use, like for these flowers, I was just using the sheet that came with the stamp. But you don't always want a big one. Sometimes it kind of gets in the way. All right, so I'm going to clean this off because I want to use the stem, this part, only. So that I can have my stems come down off the flowers. I'm just going to ink up the stem. I'm going to take my baby wipe again, clean up my edge. And let's see, we're going to, well, we'll do this one first. And this part's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. I'm just trying to give the feeling of a stem. Nature is not perfect, so it kind of works out. Same thing on this one. Actually, I'll find my mask. The masks come on these sheets, and you just pull them off. Set that aside. Sometimes I have issues with figuring out which side it's supposed to be on. Something simple, but so silly. Okay, let's re-ink this. The mask almost always comes with, if you're using ink, picks up with your stamp. And I think there's another one. Oh yeah, the little rosebud has a stem too, so if you want to not have it all look the same, that might give some variation on this. I'm not going to worry about it. And my big, the only problem with these masks are sometimes you set them down and then you can't see them. There it is. All right, once again, which direction? Nope, that's that one. Goes there. All right. I'm going to add in some of the leaves also. Now you don't have to put the stems. That's just the look I'm going for. You could just do the flowers and call it good. On the first board I did, my sample board, I actually used green, the Iron Orchid Designs green, and it came out more black on the black. So it still turned out way cool, just saying. But on this one, I'm going to do the leaves in the white also. All right. Find my leaves. So I think I want to find my mask again. Put that on. And we're going to put it right there. I'm going to grab my piece of acid or acrylic. Nice. Now, around this edge, sometimes you have to push a little harder. You can see it's kind of raised. Because it's raised, even though it's slightly, sometimes the ink doesn't get in there perfectly. So if it's one of those things where you do, just make sure you push a little harder through there. And that's where using the plastic sheets is a little bit easier. This is rigid. It's not going to be able to, you know, push in exact spots. It's more of an all over. Get some leaves in here. I'm liking it. Let's see, do we want a different leaf? It comes with so many, it's hard to choose. One thing that I do really like about these new stamps is some of these have the holes cut in the plastic, and the nice thing about that is then after time, sometimes those will bubble up, and then when you use them for the ink, with the ink, it'll get ink on in that area, and so you're always having to clean it up. This way the air gets through when you put it on whatever you're using, whether it be the thin mounts or a piece of acetate. Oop. Okay, I want to cover up that a little bit, but I'm not, I don't think oh, maybe this is it. Oh, that is it. Perfect. Like I said, sometimes I have a hard time seeing where the masks are. It's like I need to put big pink X's or fuchsia X's on them or something. All right. So there we go. Nice. All right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take off the tape. Set all this aside. I'm going to cover up my ink because I have a tendency to put stuff in it when I set things down. So we're going to remove the tape. Now you got a really nice crisp line that goes around. So what you can do now is you can take a Sharpie and a ruler, and you don't have to do this step. If you like the look of this, you can then take this and go around. I'm kind of liking the look of this, but I'm going to show you one that I did. This is the first one I did, and this is with the green as the leaves. And like I said, it turns out looking a little black. But I also went around it with a Sharpie to give it more of a border. I'm kind of liking that one a little bit cleaner. So I think I'm just going to leave it alone. And I will spray this out. I'm thinking I'm going to get a matte spray and spray it so it stays kind of that chalkboard look. If you have any questions about any of our products that we've shown here, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com. And thank you so much for joining me.